Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm pressed for time, so I only have one more question. So what I'll do is I'll ask a question for all of you, but if you could tack on to it for our clarity, whether what your position is on whether the bill should pass in its current form, that would be very useful. But my question to you, the kind of central question I want to get from you is in relation to being required to undergo specialist treatments to prove that a disability is permanent. So the proposal in the legislation is that the government will be able to require you to undergo additional specialist appropriate treatment, as the government decides to define it, before you can access the scheme. For all of your conditions that you represent today, I know there is a great frustration in having to continually demonstrate again and again either the reality of experience or that you have tried other pathways, or So I'd like your view on what it could mean to be asked, or your concerns about how that requirement could be applied to your communities, and also your position on whether the bill should proceed in its current form. I'll start with the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation.
It would be humiliating. I've done all the tests. I've got my diagnosis. It's a degenerative disease for which there's no cure. It's ridiculous to suggest that somehow or other I'm trying to defraud somebody by pretending to have a disease. And what would I be doing here today? It would be humiliating and embarrassing for all those involved. Could I just quickly add a point too about the timelines? And I'd endorse everything my colleagues have said here today.
I'm just going to have to interrupt. I'm very sorry. We do have witnesses due to appear who have to get on planes. So I don't want to cut anyone off, but if you could just be really short, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
In terms of the 21 to 90 days, one of the things our charity does is help people who are trying to get equipment through the NDIS. And 90 days is a pipe dream in a lot of cases. It might not be quite as crucial as some of the other things here, but for instance, a cough assist machine for a young man or young lady who wakes up in the morning with drowning in their own phlegm. It's an important piece of work, and it might take 6 months. If we didn't have the capacity to be able to loan them that equipment in that time, what happens to them? They get pneumonia, they get lung infections, they're weakened, and it's a downhill slide from there. So it's not just for that essential equipment and those really extreme conditions. It's across the board.
And your position on the bill?
Sorry, pardon?
And your position on the bill? Should it pass its current form?
No.
Thank you. NDIS Amendment.
For a condition like motor neuron disease, asking people with motor neuron disease to prove it's permanent actually makes the government look ill-informed and quite silly. The diagnosis is life-limiting. There is no cure, and the progression of the disease doesn't relent. There is no pause or remission or break. It is a permanent condition based on the diagnosis. That is what it is. So for our people, it's quite a silly thing for the government to be asking them to prove. And our position on the bill is no, it should not be passed in its current form. Absolutely.
Thank you. And finally, MS.
Yeah, we think it would be completely inappropriate to ask people about treatments. For people with MS, everybody has an individual response to treatments. People have access to disease-modifying therapies, but there's a range of them. Different ones work for different people. Some choose not to take them. Some people have access to stem cell treatment. Some people travel overseas for it. But we believe that people with disability have the right to choose the treatment that they think works for them, and we don't think that that's a government decision. We also would have great concerns about the ability of the NDIA to interpret that. They currently show that they do not respect reports from health professionals. They disagree with them. They don't understand how to read them. So we don't know how they could possibly understand or implement these. And I know that part of legislation refers to, that they will look at research reports, but we don't. There's no indication of what those reports would be, who would provide them. They don't come to disability representative organisations for information on diseases and disabilities, so we can't see that they will do that going forward. So no, we don't, and we don't support the bill in the current format.
Thank you. Thank you all.